Recorder, ja. Okay, I would like to present a very, very wonderful person that I have just gotten to know, Reiner Eargang, and myself, Helene. He's from Norway. I'm actually from Denmark, but we're going to open up your minds today on many levels. And we are here to demystify a lot of the things that we have been thought to believe in this, let's say the last 20, 30 years. Let's just go to that area. Okay, so Reiner, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Helen, and thank you very much for having me on your show. Well, it's actually not so much to tell about me. I'm just a regular guy. I had my education in the hotel business. I was tried to make a career, tried to make a lot of money, but it just didn't work out for me because I didn't want to. But I did not know why I didn't want to. I hated my job, and I finally quit everything. And then I started to read a lot, and I started to go inwards. But before that happened, something else happened. I was fed up of life, and I almost, I was so far down that I almost tried to kill myself. Now, today, I know that the best way to really wake up in a spiritual way is when you're far down, when you're really on the ground. You don't know what to do anymore. Yes. Then the ego goes a step aside and lets the soul and the heart come up to talk to you. And this was an essential moment for me because I have no education otherwise. I'm not a doctor, not a physicist, nothing, and I don't even care. Because a regular person without this education, they are far better off. Because what you need to be is streetwise.
Yes.
Really.
Otherwise we have to now start unlearning a lot of things that we had to learn. And I can tell you that what you are saying there resonates with what is happening right now. A lot of people are having to look at the world in a completely different way because the old way doesn't work anymore. And let me just say a little bit, I went through something like you as well. When I was in the lowest period of my time, I had to stop as well. And yes, going to almost this degree that you were talking about, yes, I was there as well. But what I had to stop, and I had to connect to something that is a little bit, has been guiding me the whole time, but I was just not listening to it. I was very much in the physical. I was a film producer. So I was very much in the physical, working, having children, doing the whole physical world. And again, I was not happy either. It fell apart. And of course, it fell apart around the same time as the .com era fell apart. So 1999, right? 2000, around that time. The company I was working for, myself, everything, and my marriage, everything that you can think of fell apart. And I was standing there, okay, I have nothing. Okay, now what am I going to do from here? And that's when I started traveling a lot. And that's why I started finding who I was, and a lot more happy after that.
Yeah. That's what the universe does. It strips you from everything and makes you think.
Yes. So
it's actually a beautiful journey, but what we are seeing now is extraordinary.
Yes.
In the whole history of mankind. This is once in a lifetime, in the life of the whole mankind, what we're experiencing now. Before it was like this, that we had these ups and downs and crashes all the time, and they were made on purpose every 60 to 80 years. Yeah. Just all the wealth which was created by the working class and the small business owners, after 60 to 80 years, they crash everything. Yeah. And they take everything. They bankrupt you, they take everything, and it goes back to the wealthy, to the financiers and all that. It happened every time. Yeah. And it looks like they want to do the same. But this time it's going to be much, much different.
Yes.
They want to have all the wealth, but then again, they want to have a new world order, a total dictatorship all over the world, within the religion, within the politics, money system, education, everything.
Yeah.
They had it more or less already. This new world order we had for about 20 years already. But
Oh
now
yeah.
they just wanted to make it official that we know. And they're telling us it's in movies, it's in symbolism, it's everywhere.
Yes.
And we shouldn't let that get into us. We should look through it
Yes.
and not become afraid, because what you're seeing now, and if you see what is really happening, if you can look behind the scenes and you see, then you can just lay back, eat your popcorn and smile, because it's perfect entertainment.
It is
They're
perfect.
literally destroying themselves now.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I loved what I was listening to, and unfortunately, many of my friends that are here in the U.S. are not understanding what Reiner has been saying. Now we do, because he speaks English now with us. But a lot of the very, very good information that you have been sending out has helped me to also connect the dots as well, because that is something that we all need to do. We all need to start using our common sense, and that's something I feel that has not been used for a long time, because we are programmed into the programs. There's a reason why they're called programs, right? And
Yeah.
we're having we're drinking the Kool-Aid, listening to the news, lowering our frequencies, staying in fear, staying in a compressed state instead of being in the heart and in an expansive state, because we are powerful beyond what anybody can even understand.
In our universe, we are the most powerful beings.
Yeah.
The power of mind could actually destroy the whole universe.
Mm-hmm.
And the matrix, what so many people are talking about, the matrix was actually empty. Because, sorry about that, somebody's calling me. I don't want to
Yeah, we're
hear
just
anything
having
now.
coffee here. Coffee and water.
The matrix was actually empty. But you say there are beings that put a matrix around Earth.
Yes.
And this matrix, you can call it as well the morphogenetic field,
Yeah.
maybe. This has to be filled. It has to be filled with positive or negative thoughts.
Yes.
And this is why they rule us with fear, because we create the matrix, actually. We create it.
Mm-hmm.
What we give out of us is connected to the morphogenetic field, and we fill it, and then we have to relive all that, what we just put out. But this changed in 2012.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying the world is going down, going under. The Maya calendar said there is a big change. This change, and after 2012, everybody said nothing happened.
I know.
It did happen. Big things happen.
Yeah.
And this we don't realize, or we don't see, if we don't think with our heart, if we don't get this feeling, this vibration in us. And the same when you look at alternative media or a TV or whatever, if you want to find out if somebody really is telling the truth, listen to yourself, listen to the heart.
Yeah.
It will tell you exactly what you need to know.
And that's what I see too sometimes when we look at politicians, and if you tune into that politician, or if you tune into that person, if you're getting the truth or not. You know it if you know yourself, right? 2012, we went from fear to love. We went from male dominance, the feminine energy came in as well.
Yes, which is actually the godly energy. What we missed, this is why religion suppressed the women all the time.
Yeah.
They don't want this. They are so afraid of it.
Yeah. And that is correct. That is correct. I always tell people that when we look at ourselves, we can sometimes feel that we're riding around on a tricycle.
Yeah.
But we're actually, with the 12-dimensional beings that we are, we're actually a Rolls Royce with 12 cylinders.
Yes.
But we're just not using the cylinders because we think we're still riding around on a tricycle.
And the cylinders is actually our DNA, the DNA strings,
Yes.
We're supposed to have 12, not only 2. But in medicine, they say we have about 97% of junk DNA. It's just lying around doing nothing. This got activated in 2012 as well.
Yes. Yes.
So, and from the year 2000, the children born from 2000, maybe a few years before, but mostly from 2000 onwards, they already have two, 3 or 4 DNA strings.
Yeah, and they're also if you keep an eye, if you see them, if you talk to them, they have such a wisdom around them. They don't understand what they know, and that's why
Yeah.
many people have been medicated, because the teachers couldn't keep control over them. Nobody could, because they are so awake.
The kids say something which is profound, and the other person asks, "Why? How?" I just know.
Yeah,
They can't explain because it's logic.
yeah,
Why do we have to get everything explained? If we listen into here,
yeah,
then we would know as well.
yeah.
And this is what we have been dumbed down for generations. We have been dumbed down on purpose,
Yeah.
so that we don't listen to the heart and that we don't open our pineal gland.
Yes, that is
And
true.
this we have to reactivate all this. And the energy which we're coming in since 2012, actually before that already, the strong energy, because from our main sun it's called Alcyon in the Milky Way galaxy, is the main sun.
Yeah.
And this sun has a very high energy. And this energy is transformed by our sun and then back to Earth. And this energy starts to work with us.
Yes.
It didn't before, because we were in a constellation where we were, like the Hindus said, in a Kali Yuga, in the dark age.
Yeah. Yes.
We
Yeah.
couldn't work with this energy. It just went through us and nothing happened. But now it's completely changed.
Well, we can feel
Our
it in our
jump,
bodies. Do you feel it in your
yes,
body? You get the download, and the ringing in the ears, and the body is just filled with
yeah,
all kinds of beautiful energy. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. And
So it,
but if you're not feeling good about it, that means you're having ascension symptoms.
yeah,
And that can sometimes be that you have because things are coming to the earth, to the surface. Some of your emotions are coming to the surface. If you haven't dealt with them, they are coming up, and that's why I become very busy right now because I work with this a lot. Yes.
yeah, I can imagine. Because what is happening as well, if you, what I always say, the way to real spirituality is first and foremost knowledge. Knowledge.
Mm.
Real knowledge about the real history and not the lie history, what we've been told here, about the money system, about the education, about nature.
Yes.
Bring back nature into the equation. This is so important. Get the knowledge, and then you suddenly get a spiritual awakening unlike anything else. But it's rooted in knowledge.
Yes.
The spiritual living, like the New Age people have, I don't want to tell everything. There's a few good things in New Age as well, but it has been captured, New Age, to become organized religion out of the Theosophic Society.
Yeah.
And
Yes. And that's
and
why it is so important that we become empowered within ourselves,
yes,
because you cannot go to someone else to get that wisdom. You need to find it within yourself. There's no
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you can read a lot of books, but at a certain time, there's a time where it's like, okay, I've read all these books, because I went through that myself. I read all these books. I've gone to the universities too. I've read all these books, and then I'm like, okay, now it's time. And the only thing I can really liken it to is, it is now time to teach what we have experienced, because that is our knowing. Because if you read it in a book, it'll give you an idea, but it's still not a knowing. So when you have the knowledge, it's because you have experienced it.
But I have a question for you.
Yes.
Your work, when people are coming to you and they say they would like to get in balance, they want to be cleansed, they want to awake, is never anybody asking, but what does it help in the time we are in now? Do people realize what is actually going on?
So most of the people, and I have asked the universe, the higher powers, and my own ability to attract the people that are here that want to enlighten themselves and others. So I mainly work with those people, but yes, they will sometimes ask me, well, what is it going to help me in this time here? And I always tell them, if you are carrying an energy that is a negative energy, you will draw to you negativity. Negative people, negative relationships. And usually it's about relationships that have gone of rye, that then they come to me because I work with relationship, and I said, okay, what are you carrying within you that attracts somebody that has the same energy? Because we mirror each other, right? So if you're carrying that, you're bringing that, you're attracting that kind of a person to you.
Yeah.
So that you can learn, because when there's something you don't like, you're going to do something to get away from it, right? Or you're definitely going to grow when you get a person like that. If you have a partner who is pressing all of your buttons that triggers you, you're going to have to grow, because you're not going to want to live like that. Most people do not want that, right? So yeah, what people will do, then they'll come to me and ask me, and usually I will tell them that, as long as you carry, it's like carrying a backpack that's really, really heavy, and you're walking this path and you want to let go of that backpack. You can't, because you're carrying it around until you let go. And in other words, let go of that actual emotion that was probably caused when you were very, very young. Sometimes people don't put two and two together, but when they come to me, I go into the source and I'm like, okay, this is where it started. You were 3 years old, somebody told you something and you took it as if it was your truth. You're carrying a programming that is not yours. So we clear that, so that they can then suddenly, it's like you're driving a car and the windshield gets all muddy, then you can't see anything, right? That's what you're carrying that around you. You can't see anything. You clear the windshield. You can see forward, backward, you can see within. There's a different story. Then you will not attract that kind of a person again. Sorry, I don't have a 30-second explanation. It's a longer,
I know. It's very important for people actually to know, because I don't do any healing, even though I realize that I have very warm hands, and when I put them on people, it does something to them.
Of course.
But I don't do it. I don't do it on purpose. I just make it to calm them down. I feel what kind of energy they have in themselves, and I put my hands on their heads, and I know which brain half is working more, and I balance it a little bit. People start to cry or they start to fall asleep. So,
beautiful.
but it's nothing to it, because some people said, "Could you help me?" And I look at them and I tell them, "You don't want to be helped."
No,
So
some
they
people
get
don't.
angry. And I said, "Why are you angry now? Who in you is angry? Your brain or your heart?"
Yeah.
And the truth shall set you free. But the truth hurts, because love, the universal love, is the truth. And if you can't handle it, you have to go and a harder way still.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I work with some people call it energy work because they don't want to use the word healing. But I have to say that each one is a healer. Okay.
Yeah.
It is just, when you go into a room filled with people that have, some people you want to go towards because they just feel warm and fuzzy, and other people you just want to stay away from because they're just, they're mad, they're angry, right? And you feel it, right? It's on some level, you just feel it. And I feel many times, I always say to people, it's about resonance. When you go to a healer, hopefully she has a higher resonance than you or he. And if that's not the case, then it's not that healer that you need to work with. But that really is about, because if you have two frequencies, one is higher, one is lower, well, the higher one might go down a little bit, but the lower one will come up, right? I mean, that's science, right? So that's really what it's about. So I am not the healer. The person that I'm working with is. I just bring in the frequency. That's more or less what I do with that. It's like cooking or dirty water. You cook it, it comes up to the surface, you scum it off, and you have clean water. More or less what we do.
Where do we see this kind of negative energy in well-known people, celebrities today, especially in politics?
Yes.
Because there people can clearly see that they are literally destroying themselves. If you look at Chuck Schumer, if you look at Pelosi, if you look at Adam Schiff, it is almost disgusting. It is terrible to see.
Yes.
They are shouting out. They're knowing that they are going to be destroyed.
Yeah. They already know that.
But they do it to themselves first.
Yeah. But
And it's,
they have also, oh, sorry.
yeah, no, no, keep on, keep on.
They have also taken that path.
Yes,
They had to pay with something to get where they are,
yes,
unfortunately.
yes. And what New Age would say is, you know, we should only concentrate about love and about the good things, and don't think about the negative things. This is completely wrong. If you don't know what is going on today,
Yes.
you would never know what you actually want for your future.
And you would never know what is going on behind the scenes. And that was one of the reasons why, when I'm not going to go in politically, but when I was living in Washington D.C. when Obama was chosen
Yeah,
or was put in place.
better, yeah.
He came out of left field. Okay, I'm just saying that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm living in Washington, D.C., and all my spiritual friends are saying, oh, this is amazing, la, 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 the whole world. And I'm looking at them. Do you not see? Do you not see? Now, it is interesting because as a child, I went to Denmark the first year, Danish school. Then I came to the US, didn't know one word of English, came into an American school. But anyway, and each country, and then I came to Sweden, each country is saying to me, and I was pretty young, this is the best country in the world. This is the best country. I'm like, wait a minute, the other country said that too. This country is saying that too. Wait a minute, something's not right. And I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the experience of going and living in different countries to understand that each country has an agenda. Each person
yes,
has an agenda. I learned that very soon.
yeah,
So I started discerning. So when people tell me something, it goes through several filters before I actually take it in. Even the new age world that you're talking about. For the longest time, I was like, I don't know. I would read a little bit. I'm not really sure. I read the book, the autobiography of a yogi 30 years ago. And I was like, okay, some of the things might be okay. Okay, I can agree on some of the things. But I read it 10 years ago now, and I was like, oh my goodness, now I have experienced it. So now it's true for me.
it is with this yoga. Yoga, it took off. You know, it became so popular. Everybody does yoga,
Yeah.
but yoga could be actually quite dangerous for you,
Okay.
because if you're not trained by a real yogi, by a real master,
Yeah.
you're opening up completely to the negative, and you don't even realize it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And especially with channeling as well, lots of channelings are coming from the fourth dimension,
Yeah.
where all the negative entities are.
Mm.
And they make you believe they're God, they're Jesus, they're angels, or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to discern yourself, you know, from your heart. Who
Yeah.
can you trust and who can't? What resonates with you? It is actually quite easy. And listen to the message as well, you know,
Yeah.
because when you know a little bit, when you start to think and become streetwise, use your consciousness, you know, the
Yeah.
way you were born to
Yes.
use it, and not indoctrinated with a lot of horse hockey, you know. I mean, the world could be so beautiful, but it's going to be beautiful in the future,
Yes.
because what we are going through now is a kind of a cleansing,
Yeah.
and we have good people helping us
Mm.
with this cleansing. This is why we should raise our consciousness as fast, as soon as possible, and as much as possible.
Yes.
Because after the cleansing, we have to create the new world ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
And what is funny, I always said, when I read a little bit about the history of the US and the war of independence, what they had, and they managed it, and suddenly the negative parts came into the back door again and took over, you know.
Yeah.
And America became an empire itself, you know. And with every empire, which lasts about 250 years, and when when it declines, the last 60, 70 years is a decadence, is a phase of complete decadence. And you could see this, because typically we are American, we are the best. and all this, it in the beginning could make you almost puke. It is terrible to listen. We are the best in everything. We're a bully and all that. But I always knew that the new change for the better world will come again from the US.
Yeah.
And it shows now clearly.
Well,
With a little help.
we have a lot of cleaning to do. We have a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of cleaning to do.
But what is perfect, because USA is a melting pot
Yes.
of a lot of different mentality. The whole US doesn't have a soul. I mean, the land.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a soul because it's not one people.
No.
It will get one, more or less, for it. Germany has a German soul, and you have always these wise people. Like Russia had this Rasputin, which was the advisor to the Tsar. And in Germany, you had Saint Germain, which are terrible many now on the internet telling their Saint Germain they made just to destroy it, But you had these wise people. It's the soul of the people. And this is what a leader needs to listen to.
Yeah.
And when the US is created, and I'll tell you something, I'm not sure if there's going to be an election in
I
November.
know, me neither. Yeah.
I don't think it will be, but what I think, and the Democrats said it already, because they said Trump thinks he's the king and he's whatever. They know exactly what he wants to do, because he has royal blood. Did you know that? He has royal blood in him. And he can actually, and I think he will do it, crown himself as a king or take the total power of the US, which he actually did already by saying in the last conference. He said, "You people are so great. I'm so proud of my people. It has been a privilege to have been your president." In the past tense, he was talking.
Yeah.
He stepped down as the president of the cooperation US and stepped in as the president of the republic. USA is a sovereign country now for the first time.
Yeah.
It is incredible what is happening.
I know.
Incredible.
Do you think we're going to be feeling the economical shifts as well? What do you think? What do you think?
What shifts? What shifts do you mean?
The economical shift from the fiat to the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this will happen. I think what is happening, that he took control over the Fed.
Yeah.
And the Fed is working with a gigantic firm which is called BlackRock.
Oh, yes.
And Trump owns them both now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He took fully control. He lets the Fed continue with the money system as a corporation, as a private entity.
Yeah.
Because now he creates helicopter money to give to the people. Yeah. And he drives them completely out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he bankrupts them. So it's not my problem. You're a private entity.
Mm.
He has them already under his control. And then he officially takes them under their wing, under the treasury, and creates the gold-backed dollar and a completely new currency. And what people are saying a lot of in the alternative media, that future generations will suffer. They have to pay our debts or whatever they say. Go away from that thought.
If you bankrupt something, you let go of the debt.
Let's just go completely let it go. It doesn't, if we so-called experts in economics, they know everything, but only from their box, what they got taught.
Yeah.
The whole economics school, I would just say it is the Austrian School of Economics or Keynesian economics or whatever. It all started with a law, the market law. What is it? Tilbud specialist in supply and demand.
Yes.
Supply and demand.
Yes.
It started with that, and this is not a fact, because this is only an ideology of Adam Smith. It has never been proven in any kind of science to be true. It is only an ideology.
Interesting. And we have gone as if it was a fact.
Yeah, it's not a fact at all.
No.
And you make studies, you send people to school, to different kinds of economic schools, and they learn all the same, which is actually fake.
Yeah, I know.
And ask yourself if you don't know anything about money or the money system or whatever, just ask yourself the question, who was first, mankind or money?
Mm. Yes.
How did you live before?
Yes.
And why was money created? Because money is trade.
Yeah.
And you want to do a good deal.
Mm.
You want to have a better deal than the other one. And what are the companies telling you today? We have a win-win situation. This is a lie. There is never a win-win. And if you want to make a better deal than the other one, what do you have to do? You have to play poker. You have to put up a poker face.
Yeah.
You have to literally lie to make a good deal and let the other one know or think he made a good deal as well. This is only fake. And this creates division.
Yes.
And this is what every empire did to other countries to bring in this economic school style, of economics to diminish a country.
Yeah.
Literally diminish a country, because the wars, the instant fighting, when it's about money, you have to go like this, you're in the treadmill.
Yeah.
You only look for yourself. You become selfish, you become greedy. And what does it do to a society? You can't think straight anymore. You would kill for money.
And
it is terribly.
And people do.
And people do, yeah.
Okay, so you're one of the things that I really have enjoyed about the way that you have been presenting all of the happenings that are going on right now is that you have a knowledge that and a knowledge put together with common sense, and where you're putting together all the dots. So with the economy, I feel, I've been listening to a lot of different places, and I feel that I've always believed that the reason why the dollar was still working is because U.S. has the strongest military. That's what I've always believed. The reason why we even have the dollar that is even worth anything is because of the military. Because we didn't have that, I think we would be done. But it's a different story now. We're definitely going into new times. Raising the frequency. Let me just say one thing. Raising the frequency.
Yeah.
When we raise our frequency, because Mother Earth has already gone through the photon belt, she is a living organism. She's already in the fifth dimension.
Yes.
And the fifth dimension is love. Yeah. It is not a needy love. It's a divine love. There's a difference between that. A needy love is a human love, where you want, it's like a bank account. I need this, and then you get that. With the divine love, it is just like the sun, just flowing. It is just spreading, right? I mean, and with one heart completely open, one heart, you can affect over 800,000 people. With one person with a completely open heart, speaking through their heart, you are completely affecting over 800,000 people. That's pretty amazing.
It is. There is a story for that as well. You know about the number 144,000?
Yes.
It is like the Watchtower Society, the Jehovah's Witnesses, you call them today. They tell everybody that there are 144,000 people, which are the righteous ones, that believe in God and live after God's rules. They will get to paradise, which is completely wrong.
Yes.
What it meant, you have a bloodline which can't be corrupted, which are these 144,000, which could tip an old system over.
Yes.
If you are pure, you can't be corrupted.
No.
And you know the truth.
Yes.
That's it. It's exactly with the heart. And you yourself and we, all of us, we can do our part.
Yeah.
To create this, because this goes 360 out through the universe.
Yes. Yeah.
It is so powerful. And we have to, and this, when you have these problems, what we are going through now is when lots of media are fear-mongering, they want to lower our frequency.
Yes.
Because they know they can't keep it up. The negative elites, they can't keep up in the higher frequency. They want to keep us down with fear-mongering. Yes. And so many alternative medias, which started out very good, suddenly became quite rich, made some money, and they start to fear-mongering.
Yeah.
They are not objective reporters anymore. No. And what you have to do is just to cut them off and raise your own energy, because things are not only black and white. If we see behind the scenes, we see clearly that the change which is coming now can't be stopped.
No.
Can't be stopped.
You let the worms out of the can.
Yeah, it can be a little turbulent, but that's up to us.
Yes.
If we're not willing to wake up, it's going to be turbulent for those who are not waking up. Yes. If you don't want to experience a crisis, you never have a crisis.
No.
because you have risen your frequency.
You were talking about the fourth dimension, or the fourth dimension that the entities were in. That's where that is very interesting, because I want to just go back to that, because the churches have been residing very much in the fourth dimension. That's where they are, and since we are jumping from the third, which is the physical, to the fifth, we're bypassing that, but we're having to go through it as well. And that's probably what you're feeling. Some of you that are waking up right now, some of you that are waking up, you're probably feeling, or you probably out of the side of you can see energies or see entities coming through. And I remember many years ago that I was seeing that too. I was like, wait a minute, what's that? Oh, what's that? You know, I'm beyond that, but I used to see that too. And it like, out of the corner of my eye, I would see, right?
Yeah.
And that was
But we see something else as well, because a lot of people see from 3D to 5D. What people forget is we live for many years already in 4D.
Yeah.
Because we can look over a building, we can see the surroundings of a building. That means we live in 4D already.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? Like you said, we can see shadows, but we don't only see shadows. We see the real devils, the real negative people unfolding right in front of our eyes. Yes. Look at the politicians, look at the satanic rituals, look at this adrenochrome stuff, which everything is coming up, you know. We are in 4D. Yeah. It's everything is playing in a theater in front of us now. Yeah. And we are forced to look at it. And people who are still denying it.
Yes.
This is what they say, whether it's in some holy scripture, the harvesting of souls. Because many people will go and die. They will die off because they can't raise their frequencies and they're going crazy in their minds.
Well, because right now what we think is becoming.
Yeah.
In earlier time, when we were thinking something, it had a delay, and then a delay, and then a delay, and then we had to continue thinking to bring it through. Yeah. There was a much denser, we were denser bodies. We are now crystalline. We're not carbon anymore. We're crystalline bodies, right? Yeah. But it was much more difficult. Now I have something called the Ascension course, where I work on the master cell of your DNA, right? Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, if you're in a relationship that's not that great, be careful. Make sure that person comes and has the same workshop, because once you go through that portal and you are able to completely have no stopping of what you're thinking to what is happening, you can understand that if your partner is not on that same level, it's going to be it's going to be very difficult for you guys. I've seen many husbands suddenly come and wanting to take the course because of that. But I've also seen many relationships fall apart because they were not supposed to be together, because they were not solid from the beginning. It was not a soul relationship. And that's another thing. A lot of relationships are leaving right now because they were of need, not of love.
Exactly. Need. It's conditioned love.
Yeah.
You know, how can you be so cruel and tell me you don't love me anymore? The other one could say, how could you be so cruel and don't let me free, you know, let me be. It is conditioned love. We are going into an unconditioned love. And if you don't love yourself and your surroundings and try to understand everything, you can't love anybody else.
No.
I'm living alone now I'm in the 11th year now, completely alone. I live actually in a cottage, and I'm the happiest man in the world.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
Good for you. Where are you in Norway? Where are you?
I am in Lillehammer, the Olympic town.
Oh, beautiful.
But I am actually not Norwegian, you know. I'm actually from Austria.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually from Austria. I came to Norway in 1984. I met a girl on a cruise ship. I was sailing around the world in the Norwegian American lines at that time for 3 years, and I met her, and then I navigated the wrong way, so I ended up here in Norway.
But at least you're in a place that has mountains, right? I mean, like Austria, or
yeah. It's not that high.
Hills.
it's more hilly here, but it's a beautiful area. It's just a little bit long winter,
Yeah.
but at least dry winter. It's very nice winter, so that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But I wonder sometimes, how did I end up here? Because I was married for 13 years, got divorced in 1998, and I thought to myself, my ex and me, we are very good friends today. And I thought, what was the meaning that I should come up here?
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more clear. But we are in so interesting times,
Yes.
and when I make my videos, I don't write I don't make a manuscript, nothing at all. I just whatever comes into my head, I talk about.
Yes. And I like that. I do the same. So
Yeah,
yeah, I do the same. So and I really enjoy what we have talked about today, because I feel that it was it is very um, it's a wide subject we've covered.
yeah, it's a wide subject. It could be very interesting. Maybe if you want to make a future video, that we take one subject and talk about that a little
Yes.
bit more in depth.
Yes, I would like this is like an intro. I
Yeah.
think that would be I think that would be very good. And I probably would be sleeping a little bit more than I did last night. I was just, I was in, I don't know. I mean, I was almost changing my whole rhythm here, because I was in this space where I was just awake, you know, and then I listened to one more of your videos and I really appreciate them. And then suddenly I was sitting there and I just couldn't fall asleep. I was just, yeah.
I have a tendency. That's what women said to me before. You talk so much, I fall asleep.
Yeah, no, I didn't fall asleep on what you said.
No, 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 no.
I was just very interested in it, and then my mind just started taking off from that, you know.
Yeah.
So
So I can say this is what I'm really good at.
yes,
I make
this is
women
your
sleep right away.
superpower.
I make women sleep right away.
Well, I make everybody sleep. Okay, you have that. I make everybody sleep because I'm also a hypnotherapist, right?
Oh,
So people come to me and we go into an altered state of reality, right?
yeah.
So people come to me and they always say to me, "Oh my goodness, I listen to your recordings and I fall asleep." I said, "I know, I'm really boring." They're like, "No, no, no, you're really good at what you're doing." I'm just joking about it because I can joke about it.
Yeah.
But they're like, "Oh no, no, no," you know. I'm like, "Yeah, okay," but I think that I'm going to keep it in this. If there's anything you'd like to say right now to the American public before, I think.
Well, don't be afraid, and trust a little bit more what the Trump administration is doing. Look behind the scenes.
Yes.
Look at what he's saying and let it sink in, because he's saying much, much more than the regular American understands, because he's speaking to his opponents
Yeah.
through what he's saying. And there are so clear messages. So if you see all these small things, there is no fear mongering necessary. There won't be a new world order.
No.
There will be a new world, but
Yes.
not a new world order.
Yes. Oh, that's very beautiful. And with that, I'm going to say thank you, Reiner. We are going. I feel we're going to do some more of these topics.
Yeah.
We're going to do a topic at a time so that we can go deeper. But I also feel very comforted in the way that, if I can say the last thing here would be, I would say that we are going into times where many of you 2 months ago were not awake. You're waking up right now. It's because you have to. There's no other way to do it right now, because you are being pressured on all levels and you're having to sit still. You're having to be inside with yourself. So congratulations, you're getting to get to know yourselves, but at the same time, you're also getting to understand and wake up to what Trump is. I see him as well. He is a chess player, very, very good chess player. And I feel that he is the king in that game. I really feel that.
By the way, General Flynn got exonerated.
Yes.
And I think he's going back to the White House, and then you will see things happening very fast, because he is a powerful man.
I think he's been working, and this is just my opinion. And by the way, guys, what we are saying here is our experiences, Okay, this is not anything that anybody should take completely as this is the truth. We said that in the beginning, but I just want to put a disclaimer in there. If we're going to start getting messages, oh, you guys, this is what we have experienced. This is what we are, how we are putting the dots together. I understand things on a different level because I've lived in other countries, so I can look at it. I have friends in the White House getting a lot of intel from there as well. Well, can't really say that, but yes, I do. But I haven't said who, but the interesting part is I have family that lives all over the world, and I'm asking what's happening in Germany, what's happening in Brazil, what's happening in Australia, what's happening there, and I'm looking at that, and I'm putting those dots together, and that becomes my so-called truth, how I'm looking at it, right? And I think it's important that everybody does that. Don't just look at what one source is saying. Yeah. Look at what other sources are saying, and build your own opinion, or build your own picture of what it is that is going on. But I just wanted to say one little thing, and that is, I can talk forever. I don't want to do that right now. Your heart is one of the most important things right now to take care of. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, when you feel that your heart is doing its, you're getting nervous, you're getting, you feel fear and this and that. Calm yourself down just by breathing into your heart, because your heart is accepting frequencies that it's not used to. We are all accepting frequencies. The Schumann resonance, look it up. The Schumann resonance is higher than it ever has been. It's like, it usually is on 8 or 9, is on like 100 and hundreds right now. And that is affecting you in a physical way as well, because your physical body is letting go of stuff that is not necessary, or that is not serving you anymore. Anything that is underneath the frequency of love is being pulled out, pushed out of you from these frequencies. And get out in the sun. Get out in the sun. Get the nutrients from the sun if you have the possibility of doing that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not gonna. That's it. I really love that we did this. Reiner, do you have a last one you'd like to say?
No, actually, I think I stop here now, because what you were talking about, we could continue for hours.
I know.
We could make that maybe a topic for next time, to go a little bit more deeper in that, because that's very interesting. Yes. Everybody is here on this earth to experience it, so don't be afraid. You are prepared. We're prepared for that moment. Yes. Just let go of the fear and accept what's happening. The awakening will go like this.
Yes. Okay.
So it's no problem.
So with much love. Thank you, Reiner. I'm sending a lot of love to everybody who's here listening to this, and I'm so happy that you tuned in and that we could get this thing together. And I think we should do that in our next video, or however we're going to do it. We're going to come with a lot of things to you. I don't know. This just started on a whim, and we're gonna run with it. Okay, I am with so much love. I'm just gonna.